The new LiteChaser Pro from PolarPro is here.
Learn how to turn your smartphone into a professional quality video camera. Be sure to check out our mobile filmmaking courses. And also, don't forget, we have a companion filmmaking podcast. Links are in the description.
PolarPro has made the LiteChaser Pro since the iPhone 11 Pro, and I've covered every iteration, the 11, 12, 13, and now the 14. Overall, they've been really pretty good products, except last year, they made some changes and they were gonna bring some lenses into the fold, but with supply chain issues and etc., that never happened. And so that was definitely a little bit of a letdown. But this year they've made some improvements and also gone back to what worked in the past. So the first thing you'll probably notice is this is no longer a case. This is actually a full-on cage. Future Blade, jumping in here for a moment. Just a quick note to say they still do have a case version. This is the cage that they sent me. I didn't realize they had both when I made this video, but they do. So if you want a case, you can get that, or a cage, and they're both new for the 14 Pro. But I am reviewing the cage today. This is made out of aluminum, the whole thing. Previous versions, only the mount was made out of metal or aluminum. This part, the edges, were actually made out of rubber. And this is actually the version from the 13 Pro Max. I know you really can't tell on video, but this is more like a heavy-duty case. It's rubber. This is actually a cage. And so that's one really big difference. The previous version also had this grip. Now, I like this grip, especially on the 11 and 12 version. On the 13 version, it didn't work as well. Some people got some bad ones, they replaced them, but it never really held as sturdy as you'd like. Now, on this new one, you get a full-on handle. And again, this is metal. But this is metal, and this is metal, and this is very, very sturdy gear. So you can see the difference there. And there is an insert that you get that is more like a case. It's about the same size as the previous version of the LiteChaser, minus the actual mount. So this is the case you put on your phone, and then you take that and slip it in here. This is much more serious. This is a more advanced filmmaking setup. The previous versions were kind of a hybrid. You could actually carry this in your pocket with the phone in there and then put the various lenses or filters on, although again, this was their proprietary mount from the 13 Pro that never actually came to fruition. The previous version, the 12, that actually had a moment mount, and that's what this has now again. That is a big plus, and that's what I meant when I said they went back to the past, because going with a mount system that already is in existence and is used a lot, more or less ubiquitous, I think is the right approach. And one other thing that they did this year that is a very cool thing, they did not change the filters. The filters changed between the 11, the 12, and the 13. So you spent all this money on this kit and then you couldn't even carry the filters across. Now you can. The filters that they are actually selling for this kit are the exact same as the 13 Pro. But it is nice that if you spent the money and bought filters for the 13 Pro version, you don't have to buy them again for this. You just have to upgrade the actual cage. And that's one thing I want to stress is this is a cage, and it's very reminiscent to the small rig cage. This is the small rig cage, got a big handle on it, and this is the new PolarPro LiteChaser Pro. And I have a sneaking suspicion that this was very much inspired by this cage. And so let me get the old one out of the way, and I will go ahead and set this up. This is a 14 Pro Max, and that is one thing about cages. This is specific for this device. You cannot use other phones in this cage. It's got some releases here. You lift up, and you drop it in. And I have to tell you that was my first time to ever do that. And that was very easy. It feels really secure. I do like that. And then here's the handle. You can put it on either side you want. I typically like my handles on the right. And that's it for the setup, but now we'll put a filter on. This is their VND 3 to 5 stop. Again, the exact same as the previous version. The system has these 2 lines, notches, and it matches on the filter on the back. Just slide it in. Now the filter's on there and you can adjust it to your liking. Now this handle is centered and I don't really like it. I'd prefer to have it offset a little bit. So one nice thing they include is an Allen key. So you can come in here, loosen the screws on the handle and adjust it. I'm gonna slide it down. And just like that quickly, I made some changes. And now I like the handle better like that. Again, it's very robust and feels really sturdy in your hand. And then if you want to use moment lenses, you would take the filter off and then take a moment lens. This is anamorphic. Pop that on there. And then you can shoot with an anamorphic moment lens. But I do like that for sure. Makes it a much more user-friendly case because a lot of people already have bayonet mount lenses, moment lenses, or even Moondog Labs does as well. And that would of course include their great filter mount, the Moondog Labs multi-camera filter mount. It's bayonet mount, and so you could connect that to the camera. And now that's a 52mm mount. You can put traditional NDs on here. You don't even have to use the PolarPro ND. PolarPro makes great ND. But by doing this, you're not stuck with their proprietary system. You could just buy this as a cage and put whatever ND you want on there. And then what I typically do is use a step-up ring. I usually buy 67 or 77mm mount filters. That way you can use them on a wide range of cameras. I like having options. Now I'm just gonna show a few shots here because my review here is really about the cage itself. The filters I've reviewed, and these are the exact same as the 13 Pro. And so I'll put a link to that in the description. The filters are great. The new cage, the new design is what's changed and what I am focusing on. And I gotta say, it's pretty great too. To me, this is right in between the Beast cage and the small rig cage in regards to how strong it feels and how robust it is. The Beast cage is by far the strongest. That's like a really professional piece of filmmaking kit, but this is not far behind. And then the small rig is great, but it's super light and it's not nearly as robust, although it definitely does the job. So should you buy it? I would say, yeah, it really just depends on what ecosystem you're most interested in and also what you do with your phone. PolarPro is a great brand, has awesome filters, and it's a complete kit. You got the handle, the cage, and again, a myriad of filters. Then you also have the flexibility now to add moment lenses, and then you can put filters on those, or you could even add the Moondog filter mount and use whatever filters you want. And if you're wondering, yes, this is Magsafe compatible, and so Magsafe batteries and accessories will work. And I gotta say again, I'm very pleasantly surprised and happy at how well built this PolarPro LiteChaser is. And I think it would make a great addition to your mobile filmmaking kit. And especially if you already own filters from the 13 Pro, then you're all set and ready to go.